Hello and welcome to another week of art. This is Miss Turner. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, I got to share my screen. Okay, we are in week 8. I can't believe it. Week of October 12th. Okay, let's go to our I can statements. I can create a drawing of pumpkins with form. I can create an original work of art using color, line, shape, and form. And we're going to be talking about form in just a moment. What we're going to do today is we're going to review those rules and expectations. There's going to be a reading of the book, The Bumpy Little Pumpkin by Marjorie Kyler. And we're going to look at how line, shapes, color, and form can be used to create a pumpkin drawing. And then I'm going to show you a quick demo, and then you're off to create some art. Okay, let me get my screen up here. Okay, art room rules. Attitude is a choice. Be positive, respect everyone, and try your best. Don't forget, you got to view this entire video and complete the assignment. Complete what I ask you to do. Submit your artwork from this assignment to me via ClassDojo, Google Classroom, or email me at eturner@ecps.us. Offline learners, you're going to turn in your art to the school when you get your new flash drives. Okay, quick review. What is line? Well, we already know line is one of the elements of art, and that's ingredients that make up art. And line is a path that starts with a point and it continues, okay? And we talked about different types of line. We talked about shape. Shape is the outline of an object, and it's an element of art. And we talked about geometric shapes, like basic shapes, like the circle, square, triangle, rectangle, oval, and diamond. And we also talked about organic shapes, and that would be like a pumpkin or a leaf. So those are elements of art. Now, different types of line, which is important for us to remember today, is what we talked about last time. Thick line is going to be like this really fat line here. A thin line is going to be a very thin line, and these are both horizontal lines. A curved line, which we're going to be using to create our pumpkins today, it's going to be a natural curve. It's not going to be straight. Diagonal line is going to go from corner to corner, and a vertical line is going to go up and down, okay? So a shape is the outline. We already did that. Let's see. For some reason, my computer is not cooperating with me today, guys. Okay, so we talked about shape already. Now, what is form? Let me see if I can get this up again. Okay, form is a 3D shape, which makes it look more realistic. So you can create a form by using a change in color or line. I'm going to show you how to do that with the pumpkin today. And form is also one of the elements of art, one of the ingredients in art. Okay, we're going to watch a quick video, and it's the reading of The Bumpy Little Pumpkin. And hopefully this will cooperate.
Written by Marjorie Kyler, illustrated by Will Hillenbrand. Little Nell lived with Big Mama, Big Sarah, and Big Lizzie in a great big house in a great big woods. Behind the great big house, there was a great big garden, and in the great big garden, there was a great big pumpkin patch. All summer long, Little Nell had helped her family water and weed so that the pumpkins would grow big and orange for Halloween. When Halloween finally came, Big Mama called Little Nell and her sisters into the kitchen. "It's time for each of you to pick a pumpkin to carve," she said in her big, blustery voice. "Me too?" asked Little Nell. "You too," said Big Mama. So Little Nell followed her sisters out to the pumpkin patch. "There are so many wonderful pumpkins, it's hard to choose," said Big Sarah. She picked up a tall, skinny pumpkin. "I think I like this one," she said. Big Lizzie picked up a round, fat pumpkin. "This is the one for me." "This one's my favorite," said Little Nell. "It's bumpy and little and ugly," said Big Lizzie. "You could have a nice smiley face," said Little Nell. "No way," said Big Sarah. "How about this nice smooth one instead?" "I like the bumpy one," said Little Nell. Big Sarah and Big Lizzie rolled their eyes. "We're taking our pumpkins inside," said Big Sarah. "You keep looking till you find a bigger and better one," said Big Lizzie. "Then we'll help you carve it," added Big Sarah. After they left, Little Nell sat down next to the bumpy little pumpkin. A tiny tear fell down her cheek, then another and another. Her friends Reindeer, Hare, and Bear Cub came along. "What's wrong?" asked Bear Cub. Little Nell sniffled and snuffled. "Big Lizzie and Big Sarah think my pumpkin's too bumpy and too little and too ugly to make a good jack-o'-lantern." "I don't think it's too bumpy," said Bear Cub. "Or too little," said Reindeer. "Or too ugly," said Hare. "You don't?" asked Little Nell.
No,
said the animals. "This pumpkin would make a great jack-o'-lantern," said Reindeer, "and we can help you carve it." "How?" asked Little Nell. "Like this," said Reindeer. He lowered his head and cut around and around and around the top until he'd carved a lid. "Oh," said Little Nell, "that's perfect." "I can scoop out the inside," said Bear Cub. "How?" asked Little Nell. "Like this," said Bear Cub. He clawed and pawed and pawed and clawed until there was nothing left but an empty pumpkin shell. "Oh, goody," said Little Nell. "Now for the face. How can we do that?" "Let's ask the birds to help," said Hare. So Little Nell whistled for the birds. Crow, Cardinal, and Sparrow flew down from the trees. "Could you make the face for my jack-o'-lantern?" asked Little Nell. "What kind of face?" asked Cardinal. With her finger, Little Nell etched and sketched etched a face in the dirt. It had triangles for eyes, a square for a nose, and a smiley, lopsided mouth. "Like this," she said. So Crow, Cardinal, and Sparrow poked and pecked and pecked and poked until the pumpkin had a face. At last, the jack-o'-lantern was finished. Little Nell smiled a tiny smile. "I can't wait to show it to Big Mama, Big Sarah, and Big Lizzie." She picked it up and ran all the way to the house. "What a beautiful jack-o'-lantern," said Big Mama. "Where did you get it?" "From our pumpkin patch," said Little Nell. "But who helped you carve it?" asked Big Sarah. "My friends, Reindeer, Bear Cub, and Hare," said Little Nell. "I still think it's little and bumpy and ugly," said Big Lizzie. "Nonsense," said Big Mama. "Jack-o'-lanterns come in all shapes and sizes." The girls placed their jack-o'-lanterns near the door, and Big Mama lit them. "Mine's cool," said Big Sarah. "Mine's even cooler," said Big Lizzie. "They're all wonderful," said Big Mama. "Even mine?" asked Little Nell. "Even yours," said Big Mama, and she leaned over and gave Little Nell a big, sloppy kiss. Little Nell smiled. Happy Halloween!
okay.
The Bumpy Little Pumpkin.
Oh, let's see. All right, so that was a great story, okay? And I chose this story because it showed you that pumpkins come in different sizes, different shapes, and that's important when we're drawing them too. And they're actually quite interesting to look at when you're carving them if they have unusual shapes to them. Okay, let's look at examples of shape versus form, okay? We've got two beautiful drawings of pumpkins here, but the one to the left is a basic shape of a pumpkin, which is fine, but we're talking about creating form in our drawing. If I just color in the shape with a basic orange crayon, this is similar to what I'm going to get. The one to the right demonstrates form, and you can see that because they used curved lines and they get a little bit closer together as they go around the pumpkin, okay? And then they also used different shades of orange. So not just a plain orange, but they used some yellows, they used some darker oranges in there, and they also added leaves to the stem. And look at the faces on each pumpkin. They're both a little bit different. They use some basic shapes like triangles, and then on the one on the left, they added eyelashes. On the one on the right, they basically turned a triangle upside down and added like this little bump that's from the pumpkin is this pupil, the center of the eye. And look at the teeth. They did like a squared off teeth on the left side, and they did triangles for the teeth like fangs on the right side. Okay. Now, these are different types of pumpkin, very similar to in the story. The one on the left is a small pumpkin, but one side is a little bit bigger than the other, so it's not a perfect size pumpkin. And look at the stem is huge on this pumpkin. The one in the middle is a big fat pumpkin. And it's got like lots of lumps and things that are growing around it and a short stem. And the one to the right is a tall, skinny pumpkin. And notice how the colors are different on each one of these pumpkins. One is like a darker orange, like a red orange. One's more of an orange, and the other one's like a yellow orange. And here are different ways you can decorate a pumpkin, okay? Notice how different the eyes look. Some might not even have a nose. Some have more eyes than others. And some have lots of little triangles for teeth, and some have very little. And some, they just use extra things to add to the pumpkin. Like the one on the left, they actually carved it out and added a smaller pumpkin or gourd on the inside, so it looks like he's about to chomp down on it. And the one to the right, they took parts of the pumpkin that they carved out to add ears, and they added sticks for the whiskers and turned it into a cat. Now, I'm going to show you a quick little demo here. You're going to be drawing one or more pumpkins. You can add faces to your pumpkins too. You're going to use line, color, shape, and form. Now, you might not have crayons or markers or that kind of thing. You're using whatever you have at home. But if you don't have color, you can still use line in your drawing to create form. And your art does not have to look like mine. Okay, let's take a little look at a demo here. I've got. All right, let me get this up. Here's an example of just a basic shape of a pumpkin, and I used just one type of orange. Keep in mind in all of these drawings that you're going to see that I did something to the background where the pumpkin is. Don't just draw a pumpkin and leave it on a blank space. Add some trees, add some clouds, add the moon, maybe add some bats or birds in the sky. If you want to get all Halloween, you can add ghosts or witches or that kind of thing, or you can just draw more than one pumpkin too, okay? Let's see, here we go. So I'm going to show you different examples, and then I'm going to show you how to draw them. There's one without any face. but I wanted to show you how you're using that curved line to show form in the pumpkin. And look at the color that I did. I did a light and a dark orange, okay? So if you're using color, you can kind of experiment with that. And I also got line going on in the background. It looks like it's windy because I got these swirls in the sky, kind of like my Van Gogh painting that's behind me. And the grass has lines in it too. Okay, let's look at another one. Here's another one I did, and it's just a big fat pumpkin, but the top of it looks bigger than the bottom, and some pumpkins do look like that. And notice that each one of these, the face is a little bit different, okay? And here, I like this one because it shows you, just like in the story, a little pumpkin, a fat pumpkin, a skinny pumpkin. And look at the eyes on the skinny pumpkin. One is bigger than the other. If I didn't want to, I don't have to use a triangle for the nose. I could carve out like something totally different for the eyes. So be creative with this, okay? Okay, now I'm going to take out my marker. And you can do this one or two ways. You can do the outside shape first, like this, and notice it's not perfect. Now I can start by drawing an oval shape kind of in the center. And then I'm going to do a curved line on one side and the same thing on the other side. So I have a pumpkin there with a stem. And then I like to go in and draw my details like the eyes and shade them in. And it's important if you're not using, well, some of you use a dry erase board and draw it, and that's fine. But just remember to erase any of the lines you're not going to use. You'll see that in one of these drawings I'm doing. A zigzag line for the mouth. I'm speeding it up just a hair. There we go. And that's one way you can do it. Now I'm going to show you a different way. You can start with the center, the oval. Then do your curve on one side. Do a curve on the other side. Do another curve. And another. And now you have a pumpkin. Add your stem. Add your details, just like you did before. I'm going to show you a different way to do the mouth. Speeding it up a little bit. Okay. Could do a big wide mouth. And I'm using like some rectangle shapes here to shade in so he looks kind of buck-toothed. See what he's going to look like when it's shaded in. There we go. Speeding it up just a tiny bit. There's a little bit more I want to show you. Okay, so you can add more pumpkins. This is why I was talking about you can add more pumpkins to it. And I'm drawing my smaller pumpkin off to the side. And skinny pumpkin, drawing it the same way. Hard to do upside down. And that one's kind of behind that one. That's why you can't see all of it. And I can add my faces to it as well. So these are different examples of how to draw the pumpkins. Okay. So you're going to be creating a drawing of pumpkins. Make sure that you include line, color, shape, and form. Online learners, you must take a picture and post to Google Classroom or ClassDojo or email it to me at eturner@ecps.us. Offline learners must turn in their finished artwork when they return to school to pick up another flash drive. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to email me or call me at this number, and I usually check my messages, 563-2238. So you're going to be creating an original work of art using supplies from home. Okay, that's all I have for now. I cannot wait to see your new artwork. I hope you have a great week. Go make some artwork. Love you, miss you. Can't wait to see you again. Bye-bye for now.